afternoon, and welcome to another episode of the Dirty Little Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Rood, and this is the podcast where we are going to give you the dirty little tips and tricks for life, business, just about anything you can imagine, where we're going to bring on experts and have them give you the secret sauce that you can leverage to improve your daily life now. And I am so happy to be standing next to my good friend, Benjamin John. He is formerly of the West Coast, which I won't hold against him. I still love the guy, but now he's an East Coast brother. So, Benjamin, do the folks a favor. Tell us who you are, where you're from. Give us a little backstory, and just tell us about your field, where you're an expert in, and then we'll get into the dirty little tips and tricks.
Nice. I love that you asked me that because, and I'll answer that question, but I never like to just come out and say credentials about me and why I'm qualified.
Oh yeah, no.
But if someone asks me,
credentials,
yeah,
but not like what. Sorry, that came off really wrong. I don't mean like give me a list of why people should listen to you, because they should just listen to you because you're here.
Love that, dude.
But tell the people how you know what you know. And so, like, where you got your expertise. Give us the origin story, bro.
Yeah, so I think the value I'm going to bring here, to answer your question, I'm primarily from Washington State, as you know. Spent about 40 years there.
Like I said, I won't hold that against you. You're on the right coast now, man.
Yeah, but I still kind of travel, and I love Philly, by the way. Gave me the opportunity to buy my first scarf, as you've seen. So
love it, rocking the scarf. I made him take it off because I was like, we got to see the tie, bro. We got to see the tie.
Exactly. So, yeah, man, to answer your question, I think what's going to be valuable about me showing up and having a conversation with you right now is because I've operated several businesses, started my own businesses. My first one was a construction company. Scaled that to be not like a massively multi-million-dollar figure, but hit multiple $1 million in a year. And so that's a success for some guy like me who came from nothing, starting that company, just me, and trying to do all the aspects of a business, from taxes, payroll, on-site working with the tool belt, marketing, SEO, all that stuff I tried to do by myself, and then realized I was hitting some break points that I actually needed to start increasing the team, delegating, and it made sense to start expanding. So now I'm in the 6th year of that, and then that branched into more businesses. So
that's one thing you touched on that I really want to hammer home, because people who are starting businesses don't realize it, is that when you are just working by yourself, you're gonna hit a ceiling.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much time in a day. There's only so much you can do as the owner, as wearing all the hats.
Yeah.
Right. That's why you have to bring in help. You have to be able to delegate. You have to be able to give up that ownership. But to be able to do that with a good, clean conscience, you have to be able to instill the dream, your dream, for that company, and get the buy-in of the people that you're bringing underneath you.
Yeah, I love that, man. One thing I will say is I noticed this was different about me as a business owner. As I got more people on board, I never wanted somebody to work for me forever. I always encourage them, like, my goal I would hope that you work for me as long as you have whatever you think it takes to go do your own thing. So yeah, to answer your question, I found myself on the job site with the tool belt on, with the phone ringing a dozen times. I would have helpers with me helping me. I'm
while trying to edit the website in the truck on the way to another meeting. Yeah.
And it wasn't working, man. And that's when I was starting to lean into marketing. I'd stay up till 2 a.m. doing marketing and SEO and getting that social media presence. And then I would be on the job site with the tool belt, and the phone would start ringing. I'm like, hang on, guys. Unbuckle the belt, and then hands are like, yeah, I'll get back. Yeah, perfect. Yep. I literally did that a dozen times before it clicked. I'm like, holy crap. I think I'm at a point where I need to get off the job site and start focusing on the growth aspect of it. And that's kind of where it started, as far as the light bulb for me to expand happened, was me answering the phone while wearing a tool belt.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, man. It makes sense. I appreciate that. Now, one of the things that I know you don't like to toot your own whistle or blow your own horn, whatever the saying is. Sorry.
Well, if someone asks me,
is hard.
Yeah. Asking someone's different. I never want to solicit, why, hey guys, I've done this, I've done that.
So
I would rather
he won't tell you. He's a humble guy. He won't tell you, but he's a multi-time, you know, best-selling author. He has brought his books all over the country. He's done so much stuff on social media with talking, just not even about your own business experience, but helping other people in their businesses. You're quite accomplished. But now let's get into the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, man, let's do this.
All right, give us some dirty little tips and tricks from your experience as an entrepreneur and the industries that you've been in. What could we utilize that you've learned in our daily lives to just get a step ahead, get a leg up, and really leverage to better ourselves?
Yeah, man. And I got to give you a heads up. A lot of the things I'm going to be saying are going to be stuff that people are like, are you out of your mind? They're probably going to be like, that doesn't make sense because of what you've already learned right now. And yeah, a lot of my Instagram, as you may have noticed, is me literally getting loud about certain things that nobody else is, and really passing on positive messages, planting some seeds so that they can think for themselves and really change their life. But
speaking of Instagram, you're restricted or you're blocked right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I am action banned, and that's honestly because years ago I paid. This is when I cared about followers. I wanted something. I always wanted. This is when I wanted something from people, and one of the things I wanted was followers because I thought that would lead to business. And that may be true, but if you're wanting it and chasing it, that's not necessarily going to happen. So now I've deleting and unfollowing these bots that I accidentally got, and it's taken some time. And in doing so, they're like, "Yeah, you can't do that. We're gonna action ban you." I got to tell you though, the book I wrote the first time was actually, it's called The Misguided Mentor, and I was actually a mentor who was at that time being mentored by who I refer to now as a lost leader and a dude with false confidence, and is a misguided mentor. The next book I'm in the process of writing now is called Today's Misguided Mentors. And dude, I've already started on it. This thing is literally going to make a huge impact because of the things I'm talking about that nobody's talking about, condensed into this one book.
I bet it's gonna ruffle some feathers too.
Oh yeah, big time. But the main thing, to answer your question, what thing do I think people can do? I will say this: less is actually more. Okay. Entrepreneurs these days are talking about, you need this, you need that, and personally, I would not get hung up on the word need. You don't need anything. The right people, opportunities, and situations are going to be placed in front of you at the right time. And if you're listening to your conscience and your intuition, you'll know when it's the right time to do business with them. Take that course, go to that networking event. But if you're searching for it and reaching for it, you ain't going to get it. You're constantly going to be chasing that.
Well, let me caveat that just a little bit of that.
Yeah, man.
And you let me know if you agree with this or not.
Yeah.
But one of the things personally in my experience is that if you don't get out, right? If you don't go out and put yourself in a situation where opportunity can find you, then opportunity will leave you behind.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't mean you have to chase the opportunity, but if you're not putting yourself in a position where, or putting yourself in a position to where opportunity is.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I could perfectly live my life in New Jersey, in my little town, and never leave that little town. And I would only be presented with the opportunities that are in that town or that come to that town.
Right.
But by coming into Philadelphia, networking, seeking to be a blessing or seeking to be of use to people, not necessarily what I can get from them, but seeking to be a asset or a resource to them,
to serve others.
Exactly. That when you get outside of yourself, when you leave your cave,
the man cave,
and go out into the world, that's when you get the opportunity to slay a wildebeest.
Yeah.
But I think that's if you're sitting on your couch playing video games, then the opportunities aren't going to come.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I can't play video games? And
I mean,
Brandon Lee says he's became a millionaire playing video games and smoking weed, remember?
that obviously wasn't the only thing he did. But well, I mean,
by the way, I love Bradley. Yeah. I'm a rev share partner with him. I would never. He's one of the dudes I actually love in the space.
He is, and I don't know if I told you this, but I'm actually personally mentored by Bradley.
You did,
I did. Yeah. So I know him personally. He's a great guy. He says some off the wall shit, but you know that's
authenticity. Dude.
That's authenticity. You know, he speaks his truth, and he's not going to necessarily back down if you disagree with him, but he's also not going to shut you up.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you know, and that's I think, you know, to the credit of not all leaders in this day and age
100%.
are misguided, but a lot are.
Yeah. Most of them are, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, and but it's interesting. But I think that's something that's lost in this day and age. But it's really funny. So one of the girls that I know that I'm friends with, her brother is a video game competitive video gamer, and so like that's his job.
I always thought that would be cool.
Like he trained the world. He's like, yeah, he lives in California. He plays for a professional team, and he's like, oh, I'm going to Germany this month.
Is it one specific game or different types of games?
I don't know.
Okay, I was curious on that part.
Might be a specific game.
Okay.
That team does tournaments in or what have you. But I can't imagine. I've got a son. I've got an 8-year-old son who loves Fortnite, loves Minecraft.
Yeah.
Can you imagine someday that's going to be like a viable job? Be like, hey, you know, I'm going to Japan this week to for a video game tournament. You know, it's $100,000 is on the line. So
that's wild to think, man. But that's the day and age we live in now, and that's
happening.
That's really cool, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is. So you know, as long as you play multiplayer online games, then that's technically considered getting out into the world.
Yeah, and there may be a way to start spreading positive messages in with that and actually serving people.
Yeah, absolutely. There very well could be. I'm an old head.
Yeah,
so that's not my modus operandi, but hey,
me either. Yeah. But it's cool to hear other people are doing that, man. It really is. In another life, maybe I would have gotten down on that.
Right. Yeah.
I want to answer your question though. I totally agree with you as far as putting yourself in situations, especially if your purpose is to serve others. I want to make it very clear. I don't want anything from people, and I really promote other people to live their life and business the same way. Stop chasing outcomes, expectations, and wanting anything from people, and just flat out help and care. But to answer your question, yes, what I was more specifically saying is don't get in your head with thinking you need to do that. What I was kind of saying was like, yes, if I'm in a position where like your position, you help people with IRS tax industry stuff. Right.
Was just on hold for an hour and 45 minutes before this recording.
I know, man. That's
finally get something resolved. So.
I know. And I was telling you, I was like, wow, I've done that before. And I was like, I spent a couple hours on the phone with the IRS. And I was like, wait, you do this all the time, don't you?
All the freaking time. But, hire more receptionists and customer service people, IRS, please.
Yeah. Well, they're not in the business of serving others necessarily. But yeah,
let's not talk about government points of view. I don't want to end up on a list today, man.
They're listening. Yeah.
There's always watching.
You can clip that part out, right? But yeah.
Did I tell you this was live? Kidding.
I wish, man. I love lives.
Oh, it'd be beautiful.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. It's just don't go down that rabbit hole of thinking you need something. It's gonna happen, and what I'm more specifically saying is like pay attention to, because here's the problem: if you think you need something, you all of a sudden you get an ad where this guy's an entrepreneur and he's saying, in order to make more sale, in order to scale your business, you need this. In order to do this, you need that, and you go down that and you hold on to this need. Now you're probably going to start chasing that specific person that said that, or someone else that's in alignment with that. And you're really going to start chasing that because you now think you need it. But the reality is, I'm going to say this, everybody, if you're listening to this, you have everything you need inside you. You just need to get more in touch with yourself. And that's why I was saying, as long as you realize you have everything you need inside you, all the tools are there. Now you get in touch with your intuition, your conscience, and you're going to know when that opportunity comes, that networking event, this person, you're going to start engaging because it's going to feel right. If it feels right, it's right. If it feels wrong, it's wrong. It's literally that simple.
I have that problem with a lot of my younger entrepreneurs, because they don't know enough and don't have enough experience in business, that they oftentimes get just taken in by the, you need this, you need that, this is how you're supposed to do it, and it's no, how you're supposed to do it is how you want to do it.
It's what feels right to you.
Exactly. There's not a cookie cutter method for business, just like there's not a cookie cutter for humanity.
Absolutely.
Right.
The reason they go down that hole is because they have a little bit of fear, doubt, and uncertainty. And all it takes is just a little bit. You might be 99% confident, but that 1%, that entrepreneur, that same dude who's putting out that ad that says you need something, is targeting that fear, that doubt, that uncertainty. And now all of a sudden you're going down that path of chasing this person who, honestly, here's a little dirty little secret. That person putting out the ad also has fear, doubt, and uncertainty.
Yeah.
And they're teaching you to sell that way and put fear, doubt, and uncertainty in your prospects to get the business. All that's wrong. It's just a freaking cycle. And if you pay attention, you're going to notice it.
Yeah. Fear mongering and selling is a huge thing. It's crazy, really.
Yeah.
Because people don't understand this, but you get so much more fulfillment, so many better sales, and so many better clients by selling on trust and reassurance and confidence than you do with fear.
Absolutely.
And
anything fear-based is not, it's not authentic, and it's not positive, and it's not the way to build a relationship with actually care and love. Let's put it that way.
when it gets you obsessed with the what ifs,
Yeah.
and that you can't live that way, right? You can't live in the what ifs, right? You have to live in reality. You have to live in the here and now, and you have to operate your business on the here and now. You can't protect against every disaster. You can't protect against every pitfall, every uncertainty. You have to be able to, and that's the difference. Is there's a difference between teaching people how to get bigger than those insecurities and outgrow the fear,
Yeah.
than there is to embracing the fear and hedging against it.
Yeah.
Because you build a cage around yourself.
Yeah.
And you're building your own prison.
100%. I totally agree with that. You were saying something. Am I allowed to name drop people?
Well, it depends. It depends on. It depends on the name. But go ahead. We can edit it out if we need to.
Okay. I don't care. Like, obviously, this is what true confidence looks like. So people are going to be like, "Whoa, what? This guy's dropping names." Yeah. So something you said brought me up to this topic of tough love. There are a lot of people who are, I call them self-serving entrepreneurs, misguided mentors. They are, they prey on the fear and the doubt and uncertainty. And not only that, they do it in a way that they call tough love. There's two individuals I'm thinking of. I'm not afraid to call them out because I have the same rev share partnership with them in Brad Lee. Andy Elliott and Wes Watson are some of the two most main guys. By the way, this is no hate. This is no anger. This is no judgment. I know that these individuals actually have a good heart deep down inside. And I've been trying to call these guys out to have them explain to me why they think it's okay to treat people the way they do, bully them, and then sit there and say things like, look, I'm not here to make a friend. I'm here to help your business. Or sit there and yell at you and tell you you're weak, you're this, you're that, but they care about you. And most people know that feels wrong, but they're so brainwashed and they got the blinders on that these people can't do no wrong. They're like gods to them. And this is a problem, guys. And again, I'm doing things that like Martin Luther King and Susan B. Anthony do, right? They're calling out an injustice that is going on. Everybody knows it's wrong, right? Like someone looks at Martin Luther King and all those people doing those things, they know it's wrong. And they're like, yeah, go get them, do that. Nobody operates their life that way, though. Nobody pays attention to their own conscience, and nobody's actually getting loud about it. And when they do, all of a sudden, this is what happens to me. I get put in a box of haters. Oh, he's just hating. Oh, he's just this. It's an easy way for them to never have to confront the issue.
I'm going to give you a little bit of pushback on that.
Yeah, tell me, man.
Because I agree with you. However, tough love outside of relationship is bullying. But
give me a more
in personal relationship. If I am your friend,
yeah,
I'm your brother, it's my responsibility to call you on your shit if I see you fucking up.
Right.
But to do that over social media or to do that without that personal relationship, that is bullying. Right? So that's my stance. If I see you doing something
so
wrong,
like me calling out people online, would you call that a form of bullying?
I would say it's just more of the same.
Okay.
It depends on how it's done.
Yeah.
Calling somebody out publicly, as long as it's done with grace and humility on your end,
I think I get a pass on that then.
I mean, I think that's.
You've seen it.
Yeah, I think that's within rights.
Yeah.
But it's when things devolve into arguments or spats and name calling and hate and degradation towards one another.
Sure.
That's when it's wrong.
That's not productive.
That's not productive at all.
Yeah.
No. Holding people accountable, public figures accountable, that we have every right to do that. If something's in the public domain, expect to have it torn apart. Yeah. Right? You know, I think it's when we forget that and that.
Do you think at some point, like, let's use Martin Luther King as an example. Do you think he was also called and viewed the same way as me, as far as me coming out and probably like, oh, this guy's whatever, he's this, and judgment is placed on him when he first got loud about something that was going on for ages, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he ruffles feathers, or he ruffled feathers,
right.
Before,
but at some point, someone told him, you know, like, it's not really your duty to call people out. Probably,
I would imagine.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I'm thankful he did. Yeah. Everybody is. I hope so. But it's an example of like, there are certain people that have been put in a position as that being their purpose. And without getting into the spirituality part of it, trust me when I say the reason I'm doing it is not my own. I've literally been put in a David and Goliath situation to serve other people because of what I've seen happen to them and what happened to me. So yeah, it's a different, it has nothing to do with me. So in that regard, yeah, man, I don't care what other people think about me. I'm trying to accomplish the mission that has been set out for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's important for me to say that.
now, what's another dirty little secret about the industry that you want to share that somebody can leverage? Getting back on topic, because you and I, we can rabbit trail.
I know, man. Dude, my throat's hurting and sore from doing so much talking. Well, singing in the car too, a lot of drive time, so I'm sitting there just singing. It's the best. But yeah, man, this was something you brought up yesterday, so we can talk about this. We're talking about planning.
Okay.
And now you elaborated a little bit more that made more sense to me, but now we can talk about it so that it can make sense to the listeners. But I don't plan anything. And I think the reason why I'm able to get away with that now is because, one, the main reason is I'm completely authentic. And the second reason is the one you said. I've had experience.
You've got experience.
So even if I was authentic going into something for the first time, I might.
So let's give some context here, right? Because they're not going to watch the appearance we made on Amma last night and then watch this episode. So
yeah.
let's give a little context. We're talking about specifically public speaking and how people should approach, and tips and tricks for approaching public speaking and things like that. So one of the things that I said was that you should rehearse what you're going to say every time you're going to speak. Rehearse what you say. You don't want to leave you don't want to leave the God, words are failing me. You don't want to leave.
Should have rehearsed.
Exactly, right? You don't want to leave. What's the word? Improv. You don't want to do improv during a speech.
Yeah, it's gonna
Right.
be harder for you.
It's going to be very hard for you to come up with the words. And then I also talked a little bit about how to combat that when you do lose your place, right? Instead of what I just did, which was I don't know what the hell I'm talking about because this wasn't prepared.
Honestly, dude, real quick before I lose a thought, I would much rather hear somebody stumble on their words than them say something that's robotic and repeated. For me personally.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I would much prefer that.
However, as a beginning speaker, everything is going to end up being robotic until you find your flow and until you come into who you are on stage.
Right.
Because it's a character to play.
Yeah.
Right? You can be
I love that topic.
You can be as authentic as you can be on stage, but at the end of the day, and this is why I say it's a character. All right? I know where you're going to go. This is why I say it's a character. Authenticity is at its most purest when it's reflected by another person.
Yeah, right? When you're making an impact.
Yeah. Right? When you're in a room of hundreds, thousands of people, there are so many refractions that you're getting from the energy that you're putting out that if you don't solidify that in a character or in a caricature, it's impossible for you to take in and process and give back every bit of energy that you're receiving from the entire audience.
Yeah. Some of that energy is probably not even immediate too.
Right.
You might plant a seed. You might plant a seed and years later that person's going to remember what you said and they're like, holy crap, that's what Ben was talking about. That's what Patrick talked about 5 years ago. Yep. I get it. Yep. So that energy is not usually...
The penny will drop.
Yeah, and that's actually the goal, because more than likely, a lot of that, there's probably a huge percentage of that audience that's listening is probably going to be that, where it's going to actually click later when they're gone and they've gone through some experiences and they're like, holy crap, I get it.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, when you're talking about character, I hate that word, but I know what you're saying. And I can give a tip on how, for the people that are like, I don't want to create a character. I totally understand that, because I did create a character and I just got done burying that dude. Probably about 12 weeks ago, I buried that sucker. And thinking back on all my...
Metaphorically, not a real body. Not a real body.
And it was the most beautiful, liberating feeling ever, as you can probably tell by me speaking and just chatting right now without any planning. It's very authentic. You can feel my energy. You can feel the passion. And I'm very articulate, and it's because I know myself. I have not created a character. So what I would say is...
I want to challenge that too, but go ahead.
You can either do the character, you can focus on being that polished version, which could be useful for some people, or you can just practice before you even publicly speak doing this. You talk to people already all day, every day. That way, when you get on stage, you don't have to look at the audience as a room full of people. You're just talking to somebody like we are right now. So just think of a chat that you've had with a normal person, just like we're having, because it's when you start thinking, holy shit, there's a whole room full of people here. They're judging me. I kind of care what they think about me. If you can just let go of all that, and before you even get into that space, if the whole character thing is turning a person off, and that's not your thing, then maybe don't create a character and get authentic with yourself in life before you even step into that.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Before I forget.
Yeah. You got the light bulb went off, man.
So first off, you mentioned the character you created previously. You buried it. it died. It's done. It's over
Yeah.
with. You are who you are
I
now.
like how you called it.
Yeah. Look, man.
It's a they.
It's it identifies as a freaking toaster. Sorry.
I'm like,
All right. So what people don't realize is that's what stages of growth are in human beings. Every time you grow and change,
characters.
yeah, you
Yeah.
outgrow a character. They go away, they die.
Yeah.
If you ever need to, you can pull them back up and pull some Pinocchio shit. But
absolutely, keep the positive parts of it.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. But as you grow, even the person you are now in 10, 5 years, whatever, this person's going to get buried too. And you're going to
Probably.
be a new version that's more mature, has got new experiences, has been, more enlightened for a longer time.
Yeah, man.
You're no longer who you were before.
It's like shedding skin.
Exactly.
It's like a lizard. I agree
exactly. With that. And damn it, I forgot the second point.
with that. It'll come back to you. We're talking about characters. I was basically just saying for the people, you can interrupt me if it comes back, but I was basically just saying, look, for the people that are turned off about the whole idea of creating a character.
Sorry, I got
go
it.
for it.
I remember now. It was thinking of it like a individual conversation.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Right. I so agree with that 100%. However, most people struggle to have individual conversations, let alone conversations with a room full of people. Because where do I look? Where do I point my feet? Should I point my feet? Should I put my hands in my pockets? Do I not put my hands in my pockets? Do I gesture? Do I not gesture? What gestures do I make? People overanalyze everything. They refuse to be natural.
Yeah.
They refuse to be themselves. And then that's when the caricature is a bad thing, because it prevents them from being their authentic self, which is what people want to see. People crave authenticity, especially on stage. And so what happens is because these interpersonal dynamics are so broken down and our communication skills are no longer what they ever were before because of technology and these walls that we place up in between each other and the masks that we put on and trauma and everything else in life, right? We're not putting ourselves in the position to have conversations, to make ourselves give ourselves the opportunity to speak effectively and communicate with one another. So then when it comes to speaking on stage, it's a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
Right. It's this switch that has to trigger, and in my experience, I was only able to do it with repetition. I had to put on a facade. I had to put on a caricature, because that was the only way that I could separate the audience from me and be able to go no matter what, to not be affected by things that happen, to have so the reason the caricature is important is because it creates that divide between you and the audience, so that when the unplanned happens, you can have a high level of professionalism and keep the show going on.
Yeah.
Right. That's why, to me, it's a necessity. Right. Because if I was just out there being me, living in the moment without enough experience,
that's the key. That's the key right there.
Without enough experience, and a camera fell over, or a light fell from the ceiling, or what have you,
you immediately get derailed.
I would be derailed, and I'd be one of the audience. I would no longer be the focal point, and I would have so much trouble getting back on track. Oh man, well, good thing nobody was standing underneath that light. Now, like I was saying, right,
guess we're talking with the lights off.
That's right. Hope you guys didn't like seeing my face. It's ugly anyways. You're not missing anything. But having the ability to improv in those unforeseen situations, and then having the level of professionalism and preparedness and experience to then get back on track
Yeah.
That's something that people don't take into consideration.
Yeah.
And that can only come with repetition, practice. It's a craft.
Yeah.
Repetition, practice, and experience.
I agree. Yeah. I think the only reason I'm able to do it too is just because I've been through it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't even get good at it before I gave it up. So, in my opinion,
Fair.
some people have told me, yeah, dude, you're a dynamic speaker. You made an impact. But dude, I know what I can do. And I know what I know when I'm authentic and when I'm not. And when I say all my previous speaking engagements were not authentic, believe me. And you can clearly see that when you hear me talk now and you go back and you look at a public speaking event with me in it, you're like, holy shit, that's a different person, 100%. But what I was going to ask you was, you don't do that anymore, right? You create a character before, and do you do that still? Do you step into that character when you speak or go into those?
So that has become the authentic me.
Ah, okay.
Right. So I created the caricature of who I wanted to be.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So it
you
gave
built
me
another version of yourself.
Something that I wanted to grow and step into, something that I wanted to be proud of.
You built another authentic version of yourself.
Yes.
That's probably a better way to explain it,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yep.
Because the character insinuates that it's like not you. To me, and probably to most people, I think.
No, I
know what you're saying.
I was the shy video game playing kid who watched anime in his parents' basement.
You're painting a picture, bro.
Right? Like Christmas lights all over the ceiling.
I think Wes Watson was that person too. He talks about it.
And that was my life, right? And so if I wanted to not become the pot-bellied mechanic of my hometown, I'm still a little pot-bellied, but, now no longer in my hometown or a mechanic. If I wanted to get out of that, I had to do something drastically different. So since I didn't have male role models around me that I could look up to who had reached heights that I wanted to reach.
Yeah.
Right? I had to build that.
Right.
I had to build the person that I wanted to become and find those virtues and attributes in other men that I could pick and pull from and say, I want to be like this guy, but I don't want to be like all of him. I want to be like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I want to be entrepreneurial and problem solving like my father, but I don't want to have his anger.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just pulling what you value,
Yeah.
what you think is going to be valuable for you as a person.
And so then turning that and the level of confidence and bravery, right, into the embodiment of who I wanted to be when I stepped on stage, somebody that I wanted to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah, and that makes sense, man. The key word, like I said, is authenticity. As long as you made an authentic version of yourself, to me, that's a win, dude, and that's awesome. It's when you create a character that's not you, it gets dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, everybody's journey is different. What you're talking about, what I'm talking about, like you said earlier, is not a one size fits all.
No.
Clearly, you're talking about your way of you did it and how I did it. They're very different,
Yeah. We all walk different paths, man.
Yeah, and to your point about people not engaging enough in real life, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And this is half the reason why when you get into an atmosphere of a lot of people, whether it's public speaking or just a networking event or just going to a family dinner and there's 20 people there, you're not prepared because you never do it.
Yeah.
Get in okay, here, and what's funny is you also don't even have to try. I mean, obviously, if you are living in your grandma's and watching anime all the time, you're probably not in proximity with people to chat.
Probably not hanging out with other humans, right?
So first do that.
Tunes as a base study for how to interact with people. 10, one out of 10. I do not recommend.
But when you get into that space, though, everybody, if you're in a room full of people, if you're in a room with a couple people like we are now, thoughts are constantly coming to your head. Mm-hmm. And I would suggest this to people: get in the habit of speaking those thoughts. Stop harboring you. Like, let it out. Stop caring what people think about you. That's really what the issue is. Yeah. People are caring what people think of them.
They're afraid of They're afraid of the backlash or the disapproval that they're going to get because
not fitting
of who
in.
they are.
Yeah. There's a lot to it, and yes,
there's so much. We could go on.
There's a few layers right there. Yeah.
But one of the things I will say is that the younger generation, people now, I say younger, I'm old. I'm a legacy. I'm an elder millennial.
Yeah, we just found out I'm older than you too. I can't believe that, bro. I got my first more gray hair. I was gonna say I got my first white hair not too long ago. It hasn't grown back yet. Again, thank God. I plucked it. Yeah,
you're gonna get 10 now. That's how it goes. You pluck one, you get 10. So the late to mid 20s folks are now finding a resurgence in that. They don't want to just do online gatherings. They want to get together and they want to hang out in person.
Good.
Even some of the mid 30s, us elder millennials and into our 40s, we're at the tail end of that, but we're getting back. I think we're creating a resurgence in that. Like after what was it? After a meeting here, I went to a networking event at a brewery called Evil Genius. Not a lot of people showed up, but we were there, and it was younger folk. I was probably the oldest one there, and I was like, this is, and it was like, all right, well, we kind of know each other already, so instead of having a networking event, let's just chill out and hang out and catch up and help each other with what's going on and connect, and that's what
exchange energy.
Yeah, that's what's resurfacing, what's resurging in at least in Philadelphia right now.
Good, man.
I can't say that for everywhere, but I'm starting to see that come back because people are just sick of not connecting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, dude. And I'm glad you said that because that actually makes me happy that people are starting to do that because there's a huge lack in that right now. People just don't make phone calls very much anymore. People certainly don't get on and start doing videos to people like I do all the time.
I still can't figure out how to video you.
You get a pass.
Like, this file is too big to send. And I'm like, I'll send you a voice note.
It's got to be, maybe it's longer than a minute and a half or a minute. Make sure it's under that. Okay.
So it's something on my settings because my camera will only shoot in like HDR.
Okay.
And so it's like this huge file. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, but man, people are just, they're afraid to do that. So I'm really hoping that we are going back to that because to be honest, I think what people crave out of everything in this entire world, you can lie to yourself as much as you want. You can glorify everything else as much as you want. But what you really want is a connection with somebody. When all the money that you're chasing is gone, when all the materialistic stuff is gone, when all these events are gone, when all the traveling is gone, the things that make you feel good for you, that you're chasing a feeling for, when all that is gone, all that matters is the connection with human beings. And we really crave that. Yet we've disconnected from the value of that by being distracted with everything else.
When it comes to base human needs, really, we need just when somebody's really down and out, they just need a handshake, a hug, and a hot cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's so true, man. That's why I spend.
Or tea.
Yeah, I mean, I can guarantee there's probably not a lot of people that have 3-hour conversations anymore. And I've literally had 2 3-hour conversations with 2 separate people just in the last 2 weeks. Time was nothing to me. We got into a conversation. We started exchanging energy. Next thing you know, we got a beautiful relationship going on. And that's what what life is about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
fostering those connections, having that intimacy with one another.
Absolutely. And that may turn into business. So that's, if you want to talk about dirty little secrets, it's not a secret. Pay attention to your intuition to connect with people. That may turn into business. That may scale your business. I'm not going to say may.
That's our third dirty little secret, folks. Pay attention to your intuition, to your gut. Foster those connections. If you feel drawn to someone or you feel repelled from someone, there's a reason for that.
Absolutely. And care about it. So you're going to have to get authentic with caring for people. Do not trick and deceive a false relationship with somebody because you want something on the back end of it. I'll tell you this, here's a secret. When you're talking to an entrepreneur, a business owner, somebody's pitching you, even if someone's pitching you a product or a service, you can clearly tell. All I want you to do is focus on the energy that you're receiving from this person. You can clearly tell if they want something from you or if they care about you. Don't ignore the feeling and the signs of them just wanting something from you. And if they are wanting just a relationship and want to care for you, then lean into that. It's simple.
And it goes, just to take that even a level deeper quickly, because we're running out of time.
Oh, we got a timer.
Yeah.
Do we? No, that's not a timer. Or
it's just a clock. But
okay.
That's how much time we have left. No, I wish. So to take that a level deeper, it's something that actually, another dirty little secret, everybody needs to work on. It's called discipline.
Yeah.
Right? Being disciplined enough to say no, to pay attention to the energy that you're receiving, and to not just buy something because you're afraid to say no.
Oh yeah, that's something. Well, it goes back to the fear, doubt, and uncertainty. So that's why it's really, when I'm calling people out that sell that way, they always make the excuse like, well, if they didn't want it, they wouldn't buy it. No, it's very easy to manipulate people, and it's a lot easier when they have fear, doubt, and uncertainty.
Because people don't want to say no. We don't like saying no.
Isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
That's.
So, and I mean, it goes into all aspects of life. I mean, discipline to say no, discipline with finances, discipline with eating habits, discipline with, what you put in your body, who you surround yourself with. I mean, if we could just focus on teaching people how to have better discipline instead of, how to figure out your pronouns.
That's a whole nother podcast.
We're not here to talk about that today. But if we could teach people to have discipline and like make that a skill that we can teach people.
Yeah.
Like the world ad infinitum would be so much better off. Everybody would be more confident.
Yeah.
People would be more solidified in themselves and their identities. There would be less anxiety.
Yeah. Oh, all that stuff would disappear.
So much could be taken care of just by simple discipline.
Yeah. Yeah. And it reminds me of a quote that Damian Manders said when he was doing his TED talk. He said, don't be a slave to your bad habits and don't have a cold shoulder to your conscience. So those two combined are really dangerous. And so, yes, good habits are good. The bad habits are terrible. So yeah, when it comes to discipline, get some good habits in your life and pay attention to your conscience, man. I don't know how many times I said the word conscience in this podcast, but if there was anything you took away, it's got to be, you got to get in tune with your conscience, because that is one of the things I've noticed in people that gets them into trouble by ignoring that and not just getting in touch with it, because now they're missing the opportunities. They're missing the networking events. They're missing the right ones that they're supposed to be getting involved in. Not because they think they need it.
Yep. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Well, we are all out of time, guys. Benjamin, thank you so much.
Dude,
brother.
Pleasure. Got to do this again.
Yes, we will. 100%. Appreciate you having you on.
Give me an excuse to come back to Philly.
Yeah, right? Anytime, man. You're always welcome. Thank you guys so much for listening, and hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dirty Little Secrets podcast.